Hey everybody, Model Man here, and this is a review of all 4 original and 30th anniversary revisions, except, well, that's not completely true, is it? Because I don't have the 30th anniversary of the base star, and they never made one for the Galactica. But what we do have is 2 originals of those capital ships, and each of the original 1978 and the 30th anniversary, and purportedly a 1978 and 30th anniversary Cylon and Colonial here in one place. For the first time in my life, I have all 4 kits. As a kid, seeing this one in the store, I was never really too impressed with the box art. The side panel certainly looked good, but that photo they had on the front was horrible. I didn't think much of the details or the size of it or anything like that. I never wound up getting one until I scored this one on eBay for like $35, $50 shipped, I think it was, pre-built. Still has the stand, the directions, the decals look to be in good shape, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. We got a base star over here, which I've had for, 7 or 8 years now, I guess. I kind of did a slapdash effort on it. This is all hand brushed, and I probably wouldn't mind getting the 30th anniversary instead of this one, having just looked at it while I set it up here. And I've been working on this one for a while. This stalled out because of another project I'm working on at this current time called the Jupiter 2. However, I did get this off of eBay for, again, like $35, $40. It purports to be 1978. The box looks to be 1978, but I don't know if the second edition also listed that it had a firing torpedo. This one I picked up in person at a kit show with a guy who, he had a story that he was actually working at Universal Heartland at the time. It's very possible. He had like 30 or 40 of each of these 1978 releases, and he was just slowly releasing them every now and then for, again, $35, $40. And even though this one may say 1995, it was actually, again, another 30 or 40 bucks. So these definitely start to add up after not very long at all. One of the really big disappointments for me is this 30th anniversary was several years ago now. So you're not going to get this kit except at collector prices, and some of them, they go crazy, up over $100 for this thing. But occasionally you'll find some relatively sane-minded prices down in the 30 to 40 range, maybe even a better buy. There was one guy when I was looking for this Cylon that had 2 originals built that he was going for, like, I think the final sale was $20 shipped. How can you beat that? I didn't need it, but otherwise I would have grabbed it. Anyhow, what we're going to do is open some very, very old plastic packaging and take a look at what could be some very, very old plastic. Let's see if we can make this piece look good. I don't know if it's very possible. As to the accuracy, it's certainly in the general shape of the Galactica. A lot of the major landmarks are sort of there, but really this is leaves a lot to be desired. The details are very large. There's not much really small about any kind of details anywhere. There are some lines. It looks like they're finely raised lines. And overall, for what it is, it's what, 1.5 feet? I mean, it's not a bad representation. There's a guy on YouTube, Marco, I wish I could remember the rest of his name, in Germany, that did a really fantastic retrofit on this kit overall. I don't know that he sells an aftermarket kit, but if he did, this would definitely be an aftermarket kit to get. Kind of a really bad fit down in there on the engine. That could have been the modeler himself, but everything else looks to be relatively lined up. Well, maybe not. There's a little bit of a gap at the front legs there and there, but there's, yeah, I guess it's all a little misaligned, which is, could be the modeler, could be the model company. Tough to really say. It's certainly good that they did put all this detail on here. However, overall, I mean, you could definitely use this as like a distant shot, but for a hero model, it definitely wouldn't pass. I almost like the engines here. However, there are aftermarket pieces for that, and my overall plan is to rip this thing apart, light it up, put some launch bays in there. If there's any amount of accuratizing I can do it relatively easily, then I certainly will. And taking a look at it, we'll take a quick glance at the decals. It's not much, just red stripes and a couple names: Pacifica, Triton, Rikon, Columbia. There's a few there that I hadn't heard of. Copyright 1997. Then over here, the directions couldn't be too much simpler. There's only like 6 pieces in this entire kit, so it's not like it's going to be a tough one to do. Maybe there's like 8 or 9 pieces total. Over here with its brethren, when I first got this, a couple of guys that I was working with at the time, it was an office delivery. I said, "Cool, how many pieces has it got?" And I was like, 4. And you couldn't be too much wrong on this. It's the 4 plates basically with the top center. These little guys here, which means there's 5 on the top and 5 on the bottom. I've lost one, and one just popped off while I was handling it a little earlier. I never intended to light this one. I just wanted to hang it up, and it looks pretty good from a distance overall. I think if I do get the 30th anniversary, I would definitely take the time to do a good job. There's another one that's fallen off. To do a good job lighting this up, because it would look really nice. 2 of the main gripes I've got about this is that center line that runs horizontal to the whole thing. I thought I could simply hide it with some putty at the time, but I was using, that's probably to me, a gray in there, and obviously it just didn't work, and then there's no way to clean out the excess putty once it's in there. Good thing about the 30th anniversary version is that at the very end of this trench here, there is a back piece for that section, and maybe there are some collars to help hide that seam in the middle. I think they re-engineered the top and or the bottom. Can't really recall on that. The new painting guide is probably really helpful, but overall I'd say this is much more accurate than the Galactica is to its own subject matter. Whether that's actually true or not, I could not say in particular. But it's been a nice kit to have. It's one that I did want as a kid, but never really saw it too often. But this was another case where the box art was just bad enough to really not want to get it. Actually, this was the first one I ever bought, now that I think of it. Yeah. Wow. I'm definitely glad to have them now. It's been a long time trying to get the Galactica. And some of the prices, that thing will go for over $200. It's just insane. Totally insane. So anyhow, let's take a look at the Cylon.